This is a photo of Philip Sullivan, and he works for one of the agencies. He's semi-retired or retired at the moment. This is me, and obviously this is photo that was taken a long time ago. I'm trying to get it in focus here. Lighting's bad. Anyway, this is my sons, Mark and Scott, and me a long time ago. And I want to turn to this. This is my sons, and I don't know if they're alive or dead. This was years ago, Mark and Scott. And this is one of the mind control murders. Gabby Gifford married to twin Mark Kelly, and both of them are astronauts, Mark and Scott. They're twins, Kelly. And this is the Tucson, Arizona. They're using mind control. Sandy Hook, Columbine. I could keep going. It doesn't have to be, it can be like what's going on in Cobb County right now. The death of Cooper Harris. His dad's going to be charged or is charged for murder, and they're programmed, and it's done in patterns, and it can be proven. Now, what I wanted to tell here was I'm going to show the picture of Philip again, and I debated this because Philip didn't do it, but in the ATF, they were a part of the Eric Rudolph capturing him, and it was a new detective in Murphy, North Carolina, that caught him, and he was on the trail a lot, just like I was up here, Appalachian Trail, and he did come to Roanoke, was in Roanoke. This is my sons, Mark and Scott, again, and I want to show Philip again with me. Maybe I'll get a better photo this time. My point in making this is I've got a lot of videos now, and I can't get this to not glare. And I probably will get this one rejected because I know I will, won't I? This is Philip Sullivan, and supposedly his father was Rufus Sullivan. It doesn't show him very well, but this is me, and I grew up thinking he was a half-brother. My point is that Philip is probably retired from the ATF, I'll go ahead and say it, but also in 80, after I was given antifreeze April Fool Day of 80, and carried illegally across the state line to Huntsville, Alabama, where I worked for the district attorney in that condition, Fred Simpson, and lived at Warren House Apartments. Warren House is in the Warren Commission cover-up. Simpson is in Wallace Warfield Simpson, was supposed to have married my father, King Edward VIII. A lie. My father was married to the O'Keefes. Where's my O'Keefe genealogy? I had it here. Well, anyway, George O'Keefe's sister. I have to say that because you've never heard of my mother, right? Now then, that was a double. And the reason I've got this on YouTube, Facebook, way back, I wrote about mind control murders, 77, 78, way back then, got a letter from the FBI, national security involved, ongoing investigation. U.S. Atlanta attorney William Harper sent it to me, 23rd of June of 79, and then April Fool Day of 80, I was given the antifreeze and should have died. Now, later I was flown out to Larry Flint's because I'd written about mind control murders, and included in that was Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, and doctor, urologist at Piedmont Hospital. I'd written about Warren and Rosina Matthews, who were murdered in Marietta, Georgia, Cobb County, and they worked for Piedmont Hospital where Larry McDonald was doctor. Now then, there was another murder there I was writing about. My attorney gave what he had to me. Jean Strokerman, she was gunned down on Christmas Eve in Hardeman. He was a psychiatrist office at Piedmont Hospital and killed. Now then, even here, I don't know if you can see it, but in this endorsement, Flint says, I know who was responsible for his shooting March the 6th, 78, Larry McDonald, Thomas Murphy, etc. But the guy was programmed. It's who's doing the programming, and that's what I wanted to get to this. I was brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin. It was a pigsty where they put me. You can't imagine in 1941 and how they lived. And the girl, Peggy Ann Dempsey, that's the name I still have to go by, only I go by my married name, Childers. Both twins were murdered. I found out in 1983 after the campaign, and the Brits told me of my kidnapping and my father, who my father is, and I'm Victoria, the second legal heir to the British Crown. I'll go ahead and throw this in here. George, Elizabeth's father, is illegal. And all these years, they've never said anything. She's just continued to spend my money and be a traitor to Great Britain. This is George in 39, the year I was born. And this is Roosevelt, who appointed Joseph Kennedy ambassador to England, 36. During this time, they took down my father with nothing but lies till they kicked him out in 46. And Wallace Simpson and this double are buried with the royal family. I don't know where my father and mother are buried. But anyway, this is the twin Peggy, the birth certificate. They even redid after I got these, they redid the birth certificates, just blatantly marked through the month and left 38 on Peggy's, which is how I have to refer to myself. And Carl's, both of them were dead. Carl's, they did this too, and they left they left the 38 on mine, but they changed it to 39 here. So their response is, well, the Dr. Irwin just made this big, huge mistake. Mind control murders consisted also, they were done in patterns, that's what I'm talking about, Timothy McVeigh. This is William that's got a chip in him, so he didn't get kidnapped. It's okay, he named his son George after his great-great-grandfather that kidnapped me, so I'll leave it at that. What I wanted to do was, Philip, here's the O'Keefe genealogy real quick if this doesn't go out. Georgia and my mother, Claudia. Philip, and this is one I wanted to get into. This is a state trooper here, Virginia State Trooper. His daughter, Hattie Childs, and her friend they went to Virginia Tech, and they were killed the last of August of '09, shot out in the National Forest. And he was, her father was the Virginia State Trooper. They're using part of Childers, named Childers. Now then, I wanted to read this because I know who my father is. After I found out, I always thought there was something wrong with Philip's birth, too. He didn't belong in that family. Lina Dempsey, she wasn't married to him. There was an air base there at Cortland during the war. She was dating Rufus Sullivan from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and supposedly they had a son, and he was gone. Rufus was, when she was pregnant, and she went to the hospital in about 44 and had a son, brought him back, and he weighed 12 pounds. She named him Philip. Later on, Elizabeth marries Philip Mountbatten, so you're getting into timelines, dates, names, and patterns. But anyway, I'm going to skip on to, I did the mind control book, MD License to Kill, had the antifreeze put in me. And I found out about my name, real name and birth and everything, and I wondered about Philip because I grew up thinking he was a half-brother. And somehow he just did not fit into that. He was a wonderful human being. I mean, I thought of him like a brother. But I was up here on the Appalachian Trail. That's where I was exiled to, just to live, freeze, and starve. And one of the shelters I stayed in up on the Blue Ridge Parkway was Cornelius. It's a hiker's lean-to. Now then,